hairstylist, and I also have a box cutter on me at all times because I'm always doing inventory. So someone to run up on me would not be smart. I'm not afraid of her in that sense. But, and this is where I go into it, I said, if someone I don't know, because she's told people how to find my work, if someone I don't know comes up to me and they could be asking me for a service or questions about like the menu or whatever, and then just start swinging, that's where it becomes messy. That was what the whole conversation was. I never said I would like cut her or go after her or anything like that, but she's telling people in the comment section that I threatened her life. What does it say?
You did.
So someone said they threatened to shoot you with a gun and stab you with a knife. And she said, yes, it's a conditional threat, they say, because they said they'll do that if I show up at their house. I have this on video screen record. Again, her recording my live, and that's not what I said at all. I would never threaten her life. I've told people to stop trying to dox her and stop doing that because it's not helping me in any way, shape, or form. Like I'm not stupid. I know that if people are attacking her and doing this, when I bring her to this court situation, it's not going to look good in my favor. So I told people, you're not helping me. Stop doing that. I don't do that. I don't do doxing at all. And the reason why I don't do doxing is because that can get somebody's kid involved, or it can get somebody's innocent spouse involved, or neighbor if they go to the wrong house, or if they show up to the wrong house. Someone tried doxing me a year ago and they were giving out old addresses that I didn't live at anymore. And I had to call the sheriffs and the police stations nearby to be like, hey, you get a call about me at that house because people like to swat others. You get a call about me at that house. I don't live there anymore. So like, I don't partake in that. There's nothing in my content showing me doxing anybody. There's nowhere anywhere that I said, hey, dox this person. I've never done that. The only reason why I have her information is because my friend who's good at getting information looked her up online based on the information she provided on her website. And my friend said, here you go. I'm like, cool, I need this for court. That's the only thing I've used any of her information for. I've not given it out her information. I didn't tell anybody what state she lived in, none of that. And this all started because she made some like weird accusations about my friend. I saw it as she was grouping a whole bunch of people together and using his video. And then she said, don't call yourself a communist, which she never did. I commented, this is incredibly disingenuous. You might want to post a retraction. That's all I said. And then somebody sent me a comment of her saying, oh, that's why I made a video about his ex not allowing him to see his kid because of his blowups and his arrogance, which is not true. That's my best friend. None of that is true. And so I said, hey, leave the kid out of it. I'm like, he happens to be my best friend and I could be your worst nightmare because I don't put up with that. And then she responds back with, oh, they're abusers and this and that. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. All right. So then from that point forward, I just highlighted her behavior. People were in her own comment section telling her that she was acting foul, disgusting. Her own followers were telling her that, leaving her like page. I didn't tell anybody to do anything. And somehow her main account got taken down and she wasn't even doing it from that account, which made absolutely no sense because she was doing it from a backup account. And then she made another backup account. And then at one point she's telling people that I'm extorting her for what, I don't know. And then I'm blackmailing her in another video. She's calling the police and telling people if they've ever dealt with me, they should do the same, encouraging people to make false police reports on me for extortion. And you can see that in video 30 from March 1st, 2022. She makes her video response to video 19, stating that she has already called the police and the FBI and has filed reports on me for extortion. Now I have a history of being reported for extortion and encourages others who have dealt with me to do the same because it would be much easier now. You can see that in video 30.
That's true.
Like it's been constant. I haven't, like the last video or anything I've actually said to her was, I think March 3rd, March 5th. You know, wait.
That's not true.
The last video I made with anything to do with this was, I believe, March 5th.
That's not actually true.
So Ms. Johnson, just please
Okay.
don't interrupt, give you a chance
No
to
problem.
respond.
I made a video where it like used the sound of it was a trend where it just shows like video after video, like what the account looked like when she had made over 100 videos in 4 days across 3 accounts about myself and my friend. And so what I've included was what was directly had to do with me. She's been using this other one where my My friend goes, look, I have a team of people and da 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 da. She has clipped it down because the original says, you want to threaten me? Fine, F around and find out. So she had threatened him and he responded with a threat. The DM she kept talking about, he said, keep making videos about me and I'm going to make a video about you. Like it's obvious he's responding to her making a bunch of videos. And that's what all of this started over. And she keeps claiming that he's this abuser and then da 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 da. He went through DMs to not make it public because he knew his followers would attack her. That's why he went through DM.
Okay.
And I'm like, my anxiety is so high because of the situation. Every time I see her or hear her voice, that's why people don't send me anything unless it has absolutely something to do with me. It's relentless. Last video I made about her was over a month ago. She has made a post on, let me see here. She made a post, please email everything to this address, especially if it concerns my dude. In body of email, explain this is related to a cyber stalking gang. That's me, apparently. Using the courts to harass people. Tell them it's for me and concerns Jonathan Scott, who has an AKA. Mail to gail.hutton@clark.wa.gov. This has something to do with this guy, Donish, who's a mutual of mine, but not like a close friend. And some woman, I think, that is like, thinks Charles Schwab company is stalking her. I don't know. And so she's like, that was on April 5th. And then she's here saying, if I were you guys and me, I would get all the evidence of their cyber stalking gang in one place, then submit the entire file to the police in everyone's particular area. For example, I'm going to send Utah the letter I sent the prosecutor in Clark County, Washington. I would also have everyone send info to the Clark County, Washington prosecutor's office about my dude, as people think he lives there, and his buddy, which is me, is about to go through some things. They can ask him Tommy's real name. She's trying to get to my friend Tommy, and she's been using me to do it. Like, I'm not giving her Tommy's last name. She's told him that she wants to get into his custody papers because she thinks that has something to do with her and her situation. And like, that's my best friend's kid. And my whole reason for stepping in the first place was tell her to back off my friend's kid. And then it went into this whole 100 and some odd videos. Every video I made, I put in the report. And it's all stopped with me. Like, once I was like, you know what, I'm done. Like, I filed a police report against her. Like, that's when I started, like, almost immediately, not immediately, but I walked away. And Sergeant Ballou had talked to her and then left her a voicemail. That night she made a video about it. And then she finally talked to Sergeant Ballou, who asked her to stop, just to leave it alone, which she agreed to. And then she makes a video about it and then takes it down like 2 hours later again. And she's like mocking the whole situation. Sorry. And
So one of
Ballou reached out to me and she's like, well, she gave me her version of the story. And I guess she said, oh, I can actually tell you what Officer Ballou said here. Sorry, my computer's running a little slow, so I'm on this one. That's an automatic response. Here we go. So she said, oh, geez, well, so much for her not posting about you and squashing it. I am training next week, but we'll try to find some time to reach out to her to remind her what the agreement was. Also, I'm not certain, but did the first video look like she was talking into a remote? Anyway, I will try again. After that, I will forward to the attorney's office to see what they will consider filing. I'm sure you know this, but for that to even be considered, you can't engage her. Julie. And I said, I have no intention of poking the bear. She's making videos while I'm not engaging. When I was engaging initially, she made over 120 videos across 3 accounts about my friend and I. This is her being super calm. I'm not trying to deal with that again. Tomorrow, I will finally have time to go down to the courthouse and get that protection order. And so that was on March 20th. And I've talked to Kevin McClure as well. The first officer I spoke to that wasn't Sergeant Ballou only forwarded him one link of like 20 that I sent him of all these videos. And then he made it clear to me that they have a firewall, so it needs to be turned in by DVD. And so then I talked to Ballou and I dropped off the DVD with her for her to turn it in, because he told me that the sergeant has to turn in the evidence to him. Like, I want her to leave me alone, like,
Okay,
in general.
clearly. So one of the, maybe you could help me with this. So the definition, there's a number of things that this arguably could fall under. The definition of stalking for purposes of this petition, there's a couple different definitions. The one that appears to be the closest is cyber stalking, and one of the part of it is threatening to inflict injury on the person or property of the person called. I think calling is a general term, or any member of his or her family or household. Would you be able to point to something that she's done or said, either to you or to a third person? I know she's not necessarily talking to you directly, but like to a third person or to anybody with threats to inflict injury. I know you said that she's.
Yeah, she said that she's when she was 12, she took on her her father, and she attacks bullies like throughout school. Throughout school, she's bullied bullies her whole life. This is what she does. And then in her other video, she said when she's reading the GoFundMe, I believe it's a GoFundMe one, where she was manipulating what the paper actually said, where she said, I talked about how it was the book update one, where she was gonna I shouldn't have brought up the pot, or I should have just said she was a stoner, which I never brought up. You can look through the paperwork. I never said anything about pot once in that entire thing that she claimed I did. I believe it was either that one or the GoFundMe, where she said, I do have the means to get there, and we are looking at buying, we're considering buying a business in Washington. It's taunting. Like, she's letting me know she can get to me.
Okay.
Or that's how I'm perceiving it, at least. Like, there's like,
Okay.
she's made it clear like she's not going to go after me because there's not enough money to sue me for. She's made fun of my alcoholism online. She made an entire video making fun of my alcoholism. I've been sober for 2 years now, thanks. And then she said I was an alcoholic because I was abusive. She said you can see it in image 2, I believe. She's telling people that my ex said that I was abusive, so I'm probably abusing my husband now. We just celebrated our 12-year anniversary yesterday, about 7 years married. So that was cool to be accused of abusing him because my ex said that I abused him. My ex tried to throw me off a balcony in front of my mom. My ex like literally tried to kill me. Like, this is just bringing up a whole bunch of like trauma in the past that I don't want to deal with. And as she says, she doesn't weaponize trauma and then goes and weaponizes everybody's trauma. She tried to bring my friend and I into this drama between two other creators that had nothing to do with us. She's been trying to bring us up in every situation she can that has nothing to do with us. This thing with Donish, I have nothing to do with that. Savannah, our exorcist, made it clear to her like what the statutes and what the case and all that in Utah is about. And she's still going. Like, she's now trying to harass my friend. She's trying to harass me. She's trying to get to me in any way she can. And that's what's, I've had a stalker in the past. I don't want to deal with it again. That one was obsessed with my husband. And
When was the last, I think you told me like March sometime, when was the last time you had like you contacted her or engaged her in any way?
well, the actual like straight out engagement would have been like the first one, arguably the second video.
Okay.
But the rest of it was just like, this is the behavior. Like she was telling everybody I am extorting her and blackmailing her and all these other things that I'm not doing. And she said her thing about extortion was, and her hypothetical, because this didn't actually happen, she said that I said, if she doesn't stop defending herself, I won't stop attacking her, which logistically makes no sense, because in that hypothetical, if I was to want her to stop defending herself, I would just stop attacking her. It doesn't make any sense. Like, none of it, like the math doesn't math in any of it. And so like, I just highlighted her behavior as March 3rd or March 5th. It's in the paperwork. I think I'm missing a piece of paper. But I have it over here. March 1st, I contacted March 1st, March 2nd, March 3rd. March 3rd, I made my last video on the subject, once again demonstrating her behavior towards me. That would be video 33. That one shows it. And my friend doing a trend using a euphoria sound. It's this thing. It goes, wait, is this effing play about us? Because it's just one thing after another, and it's like super rapid succession. And that was I don't know if you want to watch all this, but that was a video. Just saw it. Video 33. All I've been doing is like, hey, she's making all these claims about me. This is how she's acting. Like, I have 210,000 followers online. I'm not trying to have someone make claims. Already somebody, this girl, Batty something or other, she's already quoting her about my friend and I. Saying, oh, you guys are cyber stalking this one person and you have this whole thing going on. And now people have this like conspiracy in their head that we're being paid by TikTok for something, which she didn't start, but they're using what she's saying to add into this other thing. Like TikTok is paying us to be problematic. I don't know. It's just a nightmare. It's a mess. Like, I get that I make videos and I'm like a public figure for making videos, but my choice to do something legal, it doesn't give somebody else a choice to do something illegal. I don't know why she finds this funny.
Ms. Johnson, try to.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know this is a big waste of your time, Your Honor. I'm very sorry.
Don't, and I don't need the editorial, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else, Mr. Chair Tisdale?
I don't want her harassing me, or I can't stop her from like harassing my friends, but my friend Tommy specifically, his username is my_dude. She knows exactly who he is. I want her to leave him alone as well, because she's trying to get to him, like to get to me. I'm extremely protective of my friends. I usually stay out of it, like, but it was when I was staying out of it for the most part, other than this isn't disingenuous, you might want to post a retraction. Once she brought his kid into it and started making lies, like claims that were lies about his situation with his ex and the custody and all that, like, that was the video I made. And then when I saw her response, I was like, oh, okay, I see what she's doing. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. And I just highlighted her behavior from that point forward. She's primarily attacking he and I. That's who she's going after. She keeps clipping videos, clipping lives, clipping things to make it look in her favor. I happen to have the rest of those clips. So when you play them in full context, it's not, hey, we're sending people after you. She said, because I was sitting there on the live. And the only thing I say is, huh, in the live, in the clip that she uses of us threatening a DDoS attack. All he said was, we're going to post a video of your behavior too. He said he has a team. He's going to post a video of her behavior on her website. And I'm sure there's a bot or something that can do it. And she's trying to claim like he's trying to overrun her server and shut her down and all that. He just threatened her back because she had threatened him in the chat function. Okay. And I was made clear by a mutual friend of ours that she was diagnosed last summer, allegedly. I can't take anything anybody says like for full word, that she was diagnosed with an emotional disorder last summer, I believe, and that her husband has been appalled by her behavior online. That's why I asked for the mental health evaluation, like at least get her some help if that's what's needed. I just don't want to deal with this anymore. I don't want her in my lives. I don't want her surveilling me. I don't want her recording me. I don't want her clipping me. I don't want her making false accusations. Like, my anxiety is through the roof. Every time I turn around, it's something else. And I can't stop people from DMing me all the information she's sending me, or they're sending me about her.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson, any follow-up to that? Maybe if you just kind of want to summarize it for me up front, and then we can get into more specifics if you like.
No problem. As Mr. Tisdale clearly said today, they know that their followers, quote, go after people. And by go after, they will flood your TikTok with all kinds of comments. And obviously these people had said some not nice things. And I blocked most of the people, in all honesty. I got thousands upon thousands of comments. So I did block them. And yeah, that gentleman that he's talking about, Tommy, he did get into my private direct messages, and it was a lot of F-bombs, fucking this and fucking that. and calling names. And then he also had an abusive video that went along with it. And
Can
I don't.
interrupt?
Mhm.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just have, I think, I have a couple questions for you that might be helpful for me anyway.
Mhm.
What do you recall? So you're not, I mean, this may be a silly question. You're not denying making all those videos, right? I mean, they're on TikTok. It's not.
No, as a matter of fact, so TikTok just started a new feature. And I kind of laugh because there's been two things that I chose to do on TikTok is I'm good at marketing. The first thing I did on TikTok when I first got on, and the reason why I jumped to 140,000 followers as an old lady talking about global trade and politics, was because I instituted, like, I would always have a headline. And it worked so well that it seems that TikTok has now decided that that's a good idea. And now it's automatic on there. It says, hey, here's a headline for you. Another thing that I do is when people make comments, instead of typing it all out, typing out my response, which doesn't make any sense to me, I just do a quick TikTok. I wait for them to watch the TikTok and then I delete it. And now TikTok has actually just recently instituted what's called a story, where you can make a TikTok that only lasts for 24 hours and then it deletes, much like how I answer all of the comments. And the reason why there were so many videos, so many TikToks about these two people is that they sent their followers after me, just as John, explained. That's what they do. And John's account and Tommy's account, their account is a hater account, a troll account. That's all they do is just talk smack about people to people on the right and the left. And so that's who their followers are. And that's why they attack others.
Do you, and I assume you follow his account or his,
No, I do not follow him.
you don't, okay. You see his videos, I assume, though.
Yes, I have.
Okay. And do you ever send, and forgive my ignorance in terms of TikTok, but do you ever send anything to him directly or through a third party saying, hey, look at this video I made about you, or, words to that effect, I suppose?
In the beginning, I may have tagged them or, obviously when I respond to them, it does, let them know that the response is to them. But other than that, no, I just talked to them. On the other hand, I have received a lot of communication from this group of people, and I'm not the only one that they're doing this to. And now he's using the courts to harass me. And that's what this whole gang, that's what they've now elevated to. They can make money doing this.
Has he ever asked you to, I know that a police officer may have talked to you about it, but aside from that, has anybody asked you to stop making videos or speaking about Mr. Tisdale?
I would say just him, I suppose.
And when you do those videos, is that for I assume you have followers, right? It's not just Mr. Tisdale who's getting these videos sort of third hand, it's other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know about how many followers you have? Just ballpark.
16,000 right now. I had another account that had more, had 140,000, but again, like, my content's not built on hate. My content's built on education, people understanding, what's going on in the world, global trade rules, the Trans-Pacific Partnership versus the Belt and Road out of China. I mean, my husband and I, we own a company that's worth about 50 million. It's probably going to be double that, right? We do stuff for the Department of Defense. We protect, part of our energy grid. LA's traffic is regulated by our team, for example. So none of this would have happened. We wouldn't have escalated to this point at all had these people not wanted to win so badly that they wanted to get, what they try to do is they try to get people fired for whatever infraction. And they can't fire me because I don't, quote, work for someone. And so they didn't have a W. So their next W was to attack my computer or attack our website, which I know they know how to do. And so, I have shareholders. We're not the only owners of the company. We have shareholders. We work with the government. We have contracts with big companies. This is a very important company. And so I had to alert the FBI about what they were doing. There wasn't an option because I had to alert my shareholders. And the FBI said, As soon as I called them, that agent put me on hold, got back on the phone and said, it's going to take us a while to get it to the right person because I don't know how it works when you call in, whatever. But they said if I contact the IC3.gov, that analyst would get on it right away. And if they deemed that it was important and enough of a threat, that they would call me, a lot faster. And that's exactly what happened. They called me like 2 days later. I think it was a Friday that I sent the IC3.gov report. And then by Monday, I got a call from the agent who then let me know that if we had any current Department of Defense contracts, that we also had to report it to another government entity per our like security clearance rules and defense contract rules.
So I'm going to cut to the chase here. So looking at the definitions of harassment and stalking, like I said, is a more, not a broader definition, but it has a couple different definitions. And we talked about cyber stalking. One of those definitions refers to the crime of cyber stalking. There's also just stalking, which says any course of conduct involving repeated or continuing contacts, attempts to contact, monitoring, tracking, keeping under observation, or following of another that basically cause that person to experience, to feel intimidated, frightened, threatened, etc., serve no lawful purpose. And the stalker should know that that's what it does. And then harassment talks about a course of conduct directed at a specific person, which seriously alarms, annoys, harasses, etc. First of all, I absolutely find that Mr. Turner Tisdale is seriously alarmed, annoyed, threatened, feels threatened, has probably suffered substantial emotional distress by all these videos being posted about him. I mean, I have no doubt about that whatsoever. So we can kind of cross over that part and look at the other parts of the definitions. One of the for harassment, and although it's not actually, I don't know if it's delineated in the statute, but it's included. It doesn't have to be in the statute. Basically, protected speech is not harassment or is not stalking. You basically can't use that as a basis for stalking or harassment because it's protected. So looking at a couple other things I just mentioned is, as Mr. Turner Tisdale did say, I mean, he was engaging the respondent in some point and had made some videos, and not very many, but had made at least one just about her. I think he said, I forget the word you used, but basically calling out her behavior on your own.
Behavior towards me.
Yes, thank you. So part of the definition of harassment or the course of conduct refers to whether the parties are sort of in mutual communication. So what it boils down to is, although I think Ms. Johnson's videos and behavior toward Mr. Turner Tisdale are offensive, potentially, certainly to him. I don't think any of it meets the definition of harassment or stalking under RCW 10-14-020 or 792-020. That's harassment and stalking, respectively. It just doesn't fit that. And part of that, honestly, is I think is probably because the statute's so old. When somebody wrote this, they weren't really thinking this is what was going to happen.
About under RCW 961-260.
Yes, sir. Yes, so that's cyber stalking. So
I think
yeah,
if anyone,
so I'm gonna, yeah, I don't find that what I've heard constitutes any of those civil offenses or the criminal offense of cyber stalking, at least by preponderance of the evidence from what I've heard. I just can't find a way. I was trying to see if
well,
it
in
would fit
several of her videos, sorry, Your Honor, in several of her videos, she said that she's allowing all this to happen and doing all this so she can write a book. She has said she can use our real names about it, about the abuse she's suffered, and about this and that. She's like making it clear she's doing this for a purpose, and it's monetary gain.
Yeah, and that also, yeah, and and that also gets to another point, is that while this could be a action for a civil action for defamation, that's certainly a possibility. That wouldn't be something I could address under this cause number. It would have to be, I mean, specifically, that has to be brought in Superior Court, and it doesn't mean it's necessarily a defense to harassment or stalking, but that would be something that would have to be brought in Superior Court. So I understand your frustration with the court, with with how this has gone. But I can't find a way to fit what I've heard into any of these definitions. And I printed them all out so I could have them in front of me and try to work through them, but I just
May I
find a
ask,
way
a-
to fit
may I
definitions.
ask a
So I'm
question,
gonna,
Your Honor?
I apologize. I'm going to cut you both off because at this point I've decided to dismiss the case. Mr. Turner Tisdale, you are welcome to appeal this decision. You're not going to hurt my feelings. You can check with District Court Administration. They can tell you how that process works. And if
Your Honor, can I
Ms.
ask a
Johnson-
question? May I ask a
I-
question?
What is your question?
My question is, by your definition of stalking and harassing, it was actually I who was stalked and harassed by Mr.
We're not
Tisdale.
addressing
So
that.
would I
That's
go
not-
through that
All right, so
through
I'm not
this
gonna
court
address
or
it.
through the court at my own
You know,
district?
if you want to file your own petition, you can, but I'll tell you, if
Okay.
it looks like this one, I'm guessing it's going to be the same result. So
I have one quick question. If she continues to do this, can I file a second time?
you can keep filing as often as you like. That being
Okay,
said.
if she keeps it up, I'll just file again.
Okay, well, we will address it in the future then.
All right, thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate your time.
We'll send these documents to you. We'll just email them to you if that's okay.
Yep.
So they're just going to continue to
Thank you.
use the courts to harass people. Very interesting.
Well, we're done. Please
Okay.
terminate.